The day my father left, I learned something about silence. It isn't quiet, it's loud. It rings. Detroit kept moving that morning, buses groaning down Woodward Avenue, a siren somewhere in the distance, someone arguing across the courtyard. The city didn't care that a man had walked out of apartment 3B with a duffel bag and a lie about needing space. But inside our house, everything shifted. My father didn't slam the door. That would have been easier. He closed it carefully like he planned to come back. He never did. Kate was 14. I was 15. Old enough to understand what leaving meant. Too young to know how to replace what left. Kate and I sat on the couch afterward, staring at the blank TV screen. She didn't cry. She just leaned her head on my shoulder, and I felt her breathing small, controlled, like she was trying not to fall apart. I didn't cry either. I just kept thinking, what did we do wrong? What did I do wrong? The city outside didn't care. Detroit kept moving, kept grinding, kept swallowing people whole. And soon, the streets found their way to me. Billy and his goons were waiting the very next day. Detroit's cracked sidewalks and abandoned lots had always been rough, but now they felt predatory. Billy made sure of that. Bullies don't always pick the weakest kid. Sometimes they pick the one already cracked. And Billy, the worst of them, had radar for that. The first time he shoved me, it wasn't even hard. Just enough to test my balance. "Hey," he said, looking me over like a mechanic inspecting a dented car. "Your dad still around?" I didn't answer. He smiled. "Didn't think so." The next day it escalated. They pinned me against the chain-link fence behind school. Rust scraped my neck. Billy leaned in close enough that I could smell mint gum. "Your mama's so ugly your dad ran for his life," he said lightly, like it was a joke we were all supposed to share. The laughter came sharp and metallic. They forced me down into the dirt, pressed my cheek into it. "Maybe if you eat enough of it, you'll grow a backbone," Billy snapped. It wasn't the dirt that burned. It was the watching. Other kids pretending not to see. But I could handle it. I could handle all that. What I couldn't handle was when they shifted their attention to Kate. Sweet, bookish Kate who never bothered anyone. One afternoon I found her backpack dumped into a puddle. Papers floating. Billy standing over her. "Relax," he told me when I stepped in. "We're just helping her toughen up." Seeing her shoved, mocked, reduced to tears, that was the part that made my blood boil. But I was one kid against them, and every time I tried to stand up for her, they made me pay. She wouldn't look at me. That's when something hardened inside me. Home wasn't much easier. Mom was drowning under bills and exhaustion. She took extra shifts, then more shifts on top of those. She came home late, slept early, and lived in a haze of fatigue. Kate and I learned to fend for ourselves. Cooking, cleaning, studying, surviving. Then came the night Mom sat us down at the kitchen table. The overhead bulb flickered, casting tired shadows across her face. She had a way of holding bad news like it might break if she squeezed too hard. "You're both 2 years from college," she said, her voice thin. "But if nothing changes, I can only afford to send one." The words didn't echo. They settled. Kate immediately shook her head. "It's fine. I can work." That's who she was. But I already knew. She was smarter than me. More disciplined. Teachers said things like gifted when they talked about her. She deserved more than survival. That night, I lay awake staring at the cracked ceiling and did the math. Basketball. It was the only variable I could control. I wasn't the best player on our school court. Not even close. But I was stubborn. I trained every afternoon after school. Layups until my fingers split. Free throws until my shoulders burned. I studied the guys better than me. Watched their footwork. Copied their timing. Billy found that funny. One day he walked onto the court mid-practice, flipping a knife between his fingers. "Look at this. Want to be a baller now?" he said slowly. Before I could react, he stabbed the ball. The hiss of air leaking out felt deliberate. Final. "Oops. Accident." He shrugged. Another time they waited until I left my backpack by the bleachers. When I put my shoes back on, my foot slid straight through a slice in the sole. "Man," Billy said sympathetically, "you've got bad luck." The worst wasn't the sabotage. It was the repetition, being held down, being laughed at, being reminded, over and over, that my father left. They didn't have to say it every time. I could see it in their eyes. I started wondering if it was because I was white, or because I was fatherless, or because Billy simply needed someone to break. I could not afford to stop training. The bus ride across town started because I ran out of options. Different neighborhood, different court. The court was worn but alive, with kids who played hard and respected effort. That's where I met Coach B. The man was in his 50s but moved like he was 20 years younger. His voice carried authority, humor, and a kind of weathered wisdom. He didn't introduce himself as coach. He just corrected people's footwork without asking permission. He watched me brick 3 shots before speaking. "You're rushing," he said. "I'm not," I said. "You are," he insisted. "You're shooting like someone's chasing you." He wasn't wrong. He tossed me the ball again. "Slow down. Balance first." I missed again. He didn't laugh. "Good," he said. "Now we've got somewhere to start." Every day after school, I took the bus to Coach B's court. I trained until the sky turned purple and the streetlights flickered on. Then I rushed home to cook dinner for Kate and Mom. It wasn't easy, but for the first time since Dad left, life felt like it was moving forward. Took 2 weeks before Coach B asked about my arm bruises. "Falling a lot?" he asked casually. "Something like that," I said. He didn't push, but he noticed. And noticing is sometimes the first form of rescue. Over time, my power grew. My footwork sharpened. My shot became reliable. My confidence returned. At school games, the crowd started chanting my name. The game master pulled me aside one afternoon and said, "Keep this up, kid. You've got scholarship potential." That word, scholarship, became my heartbeat. Even Kate started coming to watch me play. One evening, she asked to tag along to training. I felt proud, like I was finally becoming someone worth looking up to. After training, we stopped to grab cheap pizza. I dashed inside while Kate hung around the parking area. When I stepped outside, Billy was there. He wasn't smiling. Kate stood stiff between them. "Step away from her," I said. Billy tilted his head. "You always gotta be a hero?" One of his friends grabbed my shoulders from behind. I twisted free. Billy shoved the pizza box to the ground. Kate said, quietly, "Let's just go." That's when I saw the split in her lip. It wasn't dramatic, just a thin red line. I lunged, fist raised, but Billy swung a stick. I lifted my arm to block the blow and felt something crack. Pain exploded through me, collapsed, clutching my arm. I remember the pavement against my cheek, Kate yelling, footsteps running, Billy standing over me for half a second too long, before he and his goons walked away, laughing. Then, it was 5 months before the final school games. 5 months before scholarship decisions. 5 months before I could secure my future and Kate's. Coach B showed up a week after. He showed up because I stopped showing up. He knocked. Mom answered. He saw the cast before he saw me. "What happened?" he asked. I hesitated. Kate didn't. She told him everything. He listened without interrupting. When she finished, he looked at me. "Is that true?" "Yes." Only then did he say, "Who did it?" Coach B didn't waste time. He called the police. Billy was taken in for questioning, and the neighborhood erupted in anger. Not at Billy, but at Coach B. "How could you do this to one of your own?" people shouted. Coach B stood firm. "Accountability ain't about skin color. Opportunity ain't either." But Billy lied. His 7 goons backed him. My word wasn't enough. Billy walked free. 2 months and a half. That's what I had left after the cast came off. 2 months and a half to rebuild muscle, timing, confidence. 2 months of waking up early to stretch through stiffness. 2 months of doubt. There's a particular fear that comes after injury. Not fear of pain. Fear of hesitation. Coach B saw it. "You're protecting the arm," he said during drills. "I'm not. You are." He stepped closer. "You want the scholarship? Then you can't play scared." He never promised I'd get it. He just refused to let me quit. I didn't play like a storm. Storms are reckless. I played controlled, measured, every pass deliberate, every shot earned. When we won the district final, the crowd chanted my name. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like relief. The scholarship letter came 3 weeks later. Full ride. Out of state. Kate cried harder than I did. I didn't go straight to the NBA. That part is cleaner in movies. I played college ball. Sat bench my first year. Started my second. Tore a ligament junior year. Came back senior season stronger. I did make it to the league. Not as a superstar. As a role player. Reliable. Durable. The kind of guy coaches trust. Money came. Not absurd money. But enough. Enough to pay mom's mortgage. Enough to fund Kate's graduate school when her scholarship didn't cover everything. Enough to breathe. Success didn't erase Detroit. Followed me. I still flinched at sudden shouts. Still hated the sound of laughter behind me. Still dreamed about that crack. I didn't build an empire. I funded 2 things first. A scholarship in my father's name. Not because he deserved it, but because I refused to let his absence define the narrative. A community training program on the East Side, partnering with Coach B. Later came the rehab center sponsorship. Quietly funded. No press conference. When I visited during its second year, I saw him. Billy. Older. Thinner. Shoulders slumped. He recognized me instantly. "I heard you were behind this," he said. "I am." Silence stretched. "I'm trying," he said finally. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He didn't deserve it automatically. But I saw something familiar in his eyes. Fear. The same fear I used to carry. Maybe his father left too. Maybe his house had its own silence. I'll never know. I didn't tell him I forgave him. I told him, "Stay in the program." That was enough. Detroit is still loud, but it does not ring the same way anymore. Not that it was meant to. My father left. Billy broke my arm. Coach B showed up and practically saved me. And Kate graduated top of her class. And I learned something about strength. It isn't revenge, nor is it showing off, it is restraint. It's building something in the same city that tried to break you, and leaving the door open even for the ones who once closed it on you.